as an expat living in Dubai, we have certain people like Sheikh Mohammed that we know about. I know Sheikh Mohammed been spotted in Dubai for the last few days around Dubai Mall, Dubai Hills Mall, just walking around with 2 to 3 people sitting around alongside the residents having food. I can't think of one other country where the vice president of the country walks around with his friends with no security, and the country is so secure. I can't think of one other country from around the world except for maybe in Middle East. The security in this country is mind-blowing.
Okay, let me put it this way. Why do you think so? Let me ask you this question. Why do you think so that you see him, recently? What's your thought on this? Why do you think probably would this be for?
He did his part, right? He made Dubai what it is. And now he is out there enjoying what he made.
Well, we can look at it in that context. Probably you're right. But the way I look at it, I wanted to just outline that. You see, a leader was somebody who leads by an example. It's not only somebody who dictates the example, but who leads by an example. But we're talking about our prime minister here and the vice president of Dubai.
The vice president of UAE.
UAE. So
the ruler of Dubai.
The ruler of Dubai. And we're looking at him. Now, how would I tell people around the world that if I can move around without any security, which means any kid from anywhere and any woman from anywhere can move around in Dubai freely? So the best signature of that is to lead by an example and travel. That's what, even I was like awestruck when I look at it. I was like, wow. But again, you see the sense of security where they're trying to prove, because it is trying to again and again say to the world that we are the most safest place to accommodate people, accommodate investments, accommodate any kind of idea, whether you call it any kind of business, any kind of, in terms of buying houses, any kind of investment, we are more safer. That cannot be proven by communicating to people. That can be proven by you, who developed the whole of Dubai, designed, just walking into the malls by yourself, all alone, without any security. So now he's leading that example. And the media today. And of course, definitely it is a secure. And we have been here enjoying the UAE for the last 10 years. And I feel this is the most secured country around the world to be with. And you can have your wife go anywhere in the midnight. You can have your daughter come in the early morning. You have no problem because their sense of security and the way they structure the environment is phenomenal. So that's what Dubai is for. That's what this is my point of view.
Can you imagine in India or let's say US or UK, the prime minister or the president walking around in one of the malls there, and let's forget presidents. Let's say a celebrity which has a following of 1 million followers. They have a security to walk around in those countries. And here people come, even celebrities, they don't need anyone. They are that secure in this country. And maybe that is the reason why a lot of investment, a lot of celebrities move here by the end of their career. They want to retire here because of the safety and because of how the security of the country is.
You see, what's more important than if you're trying to compare any country in the world, let's not compare UAE because UAE is uncomparable.
Yeah.
The way they position themselves for the last 30 years, it's unbelievable and uncomparable. If you can't really compare with any other country in the world. Not because we are here, we are trying to say that, because the way they position themselves.
We could argue Singapore is
no, we could do that, but you see, even the level of Singapore rules and regulations in terms of certain level when it comes to the open business and policies and stuff, you can't really even compare that closer to the Singapore, because Dubai, either you be a millionaire or you be a star. That's how they want, and so they accommodated and they made policies and structures and regulations aligned with this, which has made a significant impact to the whole world to look up to. So most of the headquarters around the world are positioned here, and most of the celebrities' homes are here. Why do you think they chose here? Is it because of the beaches here? There are much better beaches around the world. But why they did it here? Because the economy fashions and aligns under the leadership of the prime minister and the vice president of UAE. So that's why if you see, even at the time of pandemic, you type about the post-COVID, yes, people were making a certain level of measures, but UAE was the first to recoup the whole thing and strategize in a certain way. And now when they came back more powerful than before. And the kind of strategy they're aligning now, for the next 10 years, it's going to explode.
Yeah. When COVID hit, their safety measures, which were already in place, were active. But most of the other countries, they had to make a new plan to accommodate these needs and these, let's say, safety measures, wearing masks and wearing the distance. This was already in place in Dubai to be deployed right away when the COVID news hit.
See, that's what all leadership is all about. You see, leadership is not allowing people when the calamity strikes you behave that, okay, I'm trying to put things in place and this is what we try to do, this is our economy. Because you see the healthcare sector here. Mm-hmm. You see the kind of hospital, you see the structures, what they've developed over time. Are we really trying to compare this to any other country? I guess not, because the way they have structured is that can accommodate. Because you see the disaster relief committee that was there. There was a certain level of people that were deployed immediately as a special force to recoup the whole thing. I think looking at all of that, how they managed to work on the system is what today it is rebounded 10 times than what it is. You talk about the airlines, you talk about the events industry, you talk about the automobile industry, you talk about any industry. It's successful here. It's not because they want to, because the economy is positioned that way and accommodated people way and made ways for people to be rich. That's why you see that most of the millionaires are finding homes here. So that's more important, because you see the countries that we are mentioning about. Yes, we are coming from the different countries, but at the same time, can countries have made certain stringent policies and structures that enable the people for the better export and import? I don't think so. There's none can be, I think, can better than Dubai. Yeah, of course, Saudi is picking up with the new norms and strategies and stuff. But again, they're gearing up towards it, which in Dubai, which is already are. So we respect the fact that we highly respect Saudi and highly respect Dubai for what they are trying to achieve in the next couple of years.
Yes. And Dubai is a really young country, right? And it comes after their initial Sheikh Zayed, Lake Sheikh Zayed, and it is the growth is really quick. They grew up when I was a kid. I was studying UAE history of when they started and when everything was formed. It was really quick, and they built it in a way that it was future proof. Anything that happens for the next 50 years is planned ahead. For the next 100 years is planned ahead.
Okay, again, I would like to draw your attention to what we spoke earlier. You see, one of the things that I love UAE and the leadership here, anything that they create or do, they have sustainability in mind. Because if anything that is not sustainable, they do not want to invest, period.
Yeah.
So every small business in every country should look up to this kind of strategy, because anything they do, it even small, you talk about a flyover, you talk about a mall, you talk about, the question arises, can it be sustainable? Can it be, is the energy sustainable in that place? Is the flow of people be sustainable? Is the business could be sustainable there? Are the tourists would be happy? So they take an account of the overall thing before any launch of a library. You talk about any launch here. Everything they do, that doesn't die, because they have a certain model of sustainability of how to run it. It's a company. Dubai is a company by running by itself with a certain level of policy and strategies articulated by the leadership of this country is what it made as significant today. And that's why people are still enjoying, and many people are enjoying this country is because of a strong leadership.
Do you remember the time when I talked about the UAE unemployment insurance? I don't know much about it, but I think you have some opinions about it.
Well, you see, the countries can come up with, you see, when it comes to a financial or the federal thing that we speak about, it always evolves around the central banking system. Any business or any country in the world that evolves around the central banking system or the world banking system, we call it as. So what happens is over time, because you see, end of the day, if a certain money, if you're, for example, if you're in a country, if you're expecting a certain benefit from a country, but what was your contribution to the country? You're just breathing?
True. Yeah.
So the ideology
There has to be something in return.
There's something. See, that in that return also, they're not going to be using it for their benefit because they anyway they are blessed above and again beyond. They're blessed. But the question is, the idea of that kind of fund coming in all of a sudden, we call it as the unemployment insurance. So what happens to this fund that comes in? So it is invested back on the people, invested back on the communities over a certain time, which means over time as a cycle of, because you see life is a cycle. So you've probably would have heard a song of cycle of life and all that.
No.
Yeah, so no. So see, life is a cycle. So the ideology of is the success of one should be a sustenance of another. The success of one should be in a sustenance of other. So a failure of one shouldn't be a failure of another.
Yep.
Right? A success of one should be a sustenance of another. For example, I'm successful, then you're following that you need to be successful.
Sure.
But a failure of one should not be a failure of another. So this is the strategy. That's why they came up with the VAT, and they came, because those are the things that helps the economy to be a circular economy in which, in terms of financial process that runs on a system, so that it is invested back on the communities, and again the money comes back. So these are the strategies and the policies that helps the government. Okay, well, because it propels the economy to a certain growth immediately when these kind of things happen. But at the same time, when you talk about the benefits of people, people are really benefited because they're not trying to joke with us. We're not working with any third world.
But let's say about the unemployment insurance itself, you are paying 60 dirhams to 120 dirhams annually based on your salary, and it is mandatory. You need to sign up before June 30th to avoid fines. And the best part about it is, if you're working for a company for a year, if you lose your job, you will get 60% of your basic salary for the next 3 months till you find a new job. How can this be profitable?
See, it's not about it's being profitable. The question is, are you really going to be a fool without having a job?
No.
Yeah. So it's not about them giving you back. But at the same time, you see what they're trying to do is, because there are a lot of people, who are they were qualified, they've been getting a job, but they've been laid off with certain measures and based on certain instances. But what's the kind of population that we're looking at who are without the jobs and all that? They could be a lot. But how we as a government could be helped? They are stranded here. They are not able to navigate. They're not able to propel. They're not able to do certain things. But the best way to do that is as a policy that we could be in giving it. This is what we call it, giving back to the communities. It's not that I take it, but I take it from you. I invest back on a community. I develop the economy. At the same time, if something goes wrong to you as a person, we are standing by you. At least that you're not looking for bread. Tell me how many people look for bread and let's call like beggars all around the streets and stuff. None, because that's what they want. Because the ideology is to not that people not to beg, but the thing is they want to keep the country so clean that it shows that everybody is productive. Because here, if you don't earn,
being one of the business centers of the world, they don't want unemployment and homelessness. They want to help in that part of time of a person when you get unemployed for the last 3 months is a grace period where you can find your job peacefully. Yeah,
if you don't see the idea of many Western country, and if you don't earn, you're not qualified to eat. But if you see the poverty level is too high in the third world and different parts, because their food and cycle of farms and food and that keeps them for months. But here, can you do all of those things? You can't. No. Because if you don't earn, you don't eat, period. That's why so they themselves know that. But it's not, okay, do you think that in 60% you can run your life? No, you can't. When you're talking about...
you're talking about the basic salary, 60% of the basic salary. And the salary structure here in UAE usually have 50% as the basic salary.
Yeah, so in a way, it's a very, very good thing. It's a great step by UAE to take this, because a lot of people, I see a lot of floating CVs and a lot of people are stranded. But I think this will certainly give a leeway to those people. And in order for them to, until they pull up their socks and try to be again successful, you has made this doors open, which will certainly, it's a little bit of a breathing space for people who lose their jobs, which is fantastic. Yeah.